What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm great. I like the hair, bro. Looks nice.
Thank you, man. I say it's a bit slim shady looking right now. It's I was just kind of getting bored in lockdown, man. And I was like, I got to do something different, you know. So I got bored and did it.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna start it over real quick just to make sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Boom. We're good. Good to go. What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm great. I'm like just like I said, I got a little bit bored, dyed my hair and stuff, but I'm just like starting to dive into like whatever I'm gonna do next, like musically. So I'm just like I've kind of been doing that thing where like when I was like 15, I would just watch like videos of people like producing on YouTube and stuff. And that's all I've been doing recently is just watching other people produce. And it's been like I haven't done that in years. It's been really cool to like dive back into like kind of just nerd out again and be like, oh, I didn't know how to do that. And like just watching like different people's
Yep.
like YouTube channels and shit. And it's like kind of reminded me that like as much as I may think I'm sick, like there's so much that I don't know. So it's like it's good to like kind of to get back into that education stage a little bit. But how about you? How you good?
I kind of been in a similar boat. I had like this really, really crazy toothache, and so I was like,
Yeah, shit.
it messed up my hearing, bro, and I couldn't really hear. So I was like, so I booked an appointment for the dentist or whatever. I got it taken care of, but doing that, it was like a maybe like 5 days of just pain, and
Man.
like I couldn't really listen to anything, but it was actually a really good moment because I kind of got back. I just kind of backed off of everything for a second, and then as some and I'm working on my project right now as well, and it was cool to be able to take a break. That was kind of the good that came out of it, and then I was still working on it, but I was working on it more utilizing my team and my engineers and like different people that I have doing sections or like just different things. So I was still working on it, and then once I got to the point where I could hear it, I'm gonna go in the studio today, and I just know what I want to do. Like I'm just like, okay, cool, boom, boom, boom. Like I'm just ready.
So exactly. Like sometimes even just coming away from someone and getting that space on something, sitting back and being able to take that like producer role, being able to look at something from, with fresh ears and kind of be like, okay, it needs this, it needs that. And that's something I feel like I kind of sort of pride myself in doing a bit with my music is like, there's a lot of people that kind of a lot of the time they'll be like, oh, let's say there's a string section. I have to like write the string section or something. But it's like, that as a producer in like a Quincy Jones kind of attitude, there's like, you're pulling in people who are what they do in order to like create like the bigger picture. So like sometimes you gotta take a step back and think like, oh, maybe there's some help.
I was listening to a writer. He's a writer on the show. I forgot which show, but it's up for like a bunch of nominations. I forgot the show. It's basically what he was saying was he has a writer's room, and those they bounce off of each other so well. Like if you have the right writers in the right room, and like he's like the head of it, but he's nothing without his team and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, it's crazy how like different teams work. Like, you see like, I don't know, like Max Martin's camp and stuff, which is kind of like famous for having this like network of like writers and stuff who are all like working on nailing like the perfect pop song and stuff, which is like, I've never really seen inside there, but it's I think the concept's kind of interesting, right? It's like,
yeah, I like it. It's a George Clinton style concept too, as well.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But so, dude, thank you so much for doing this today. So basically, I just wanted to kind of speak to you, and I'm speaking to sort of everyone that's part of the album, is part of creating this album, because I just wanted to kind of, tell the story a little bit of how this album's coming together and the people that have been included in making this album, and really just how it's come to be and our connection with electronic music and stuff. So I sort of just have a bunch of questions and stuff, but it's really just a conversation as well. I was going to say we met each other a few years ago through Scott Schreiber. Shout out Scott Schreiber.
Scott,
And
Scott.
yeah, I miss Scott. We spent many a night together, exploring LA nightlife and the electronic music scene out there. And it's been incredible to watch your rise as an artist over the last couple of years. And it feels like more now than ever, the whole world's kind of sitting up and taking note of your music. So it's, I've known you a few years, but it's awesome to have kind of finally got some music out together. So it's
Definitely.
awesome. But so I kind of wanted to ask you, I want to take things right back to the start for you. Um, so in regards, electronic music and your relationship with it, do you have a memory that's attached to like a record or an artist that kind of introduced you to electronic music? Is there like a first piece of music or anything that you were like?
My I my first I think my first introduction to electronic music was maybe the Andre 3000 album. He had this one song called "She Lives in My Lap," and then the inch, and then and then this one song called "Love Haters." But and then also just listening to a lot of Prince early on in like Parliament. Um, that I think those are my first like memories of like hearing synths and electronic.
Yeah, it's funny, like it's funny saying like you bring up the Andre 3000 influence, because there's like himself and Outkast being like an example of like an act that really like cross boundaries of genres and kind of and blended influences to create something pretty unique. And I feel like that's something that you do with your music, and I think that the reason that you are kind of like creating a path for yourself right now, and a lot of people are fucking with your music, is because your music crosses a lot of different genre boundaries, and kind of you have these like range of influences.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to kind of hear that as an influence. And like, we've spoken in the past about, like you being into hip hop when you were younger, and then like, combining it with the house music and the dance music that you like. And was there like a moment where, what came first for you? Was it house music, or were you a fan of hip hop for house music, or house music for hip hop, or?
It was definitely hip hop first,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the environment I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and out here in America, that's our folk music. Hip hop is that's our folk music. So that's kind of what that's just what I know. Everybody was always banging on tables, and everybody had a rap. I remember in kindergarten. We had this thing called roll call. You had to do your roll call and you had to freestyle, to introduce yourself.
No way.
So like it's something. And then I'm a big fan of boxing, Muhammad Ali, and like the spoken word and all that stuff like that. It just it's really folk music for African Americans.
Absolutely, yeah. It's do you feel like with your music, like is there like an intentional crossing of those genres, or is it that just something that's kind of come as a result of like your environment and your influences? Like was there a moment you were like, oh, this would be awesome to kind of like cross the spoken word?
I love everything. I'm a big like I grew up around some really amazing singers, and I couldn't really sing like the way like an R&B singer would like serenade like a girl or something like that.
I wish
I
I
just
could.
could. I wish I could too, but I couldn't really relate to that type of scene. But I could relate to like Johnny Cash or like Bob Dylan, Bon Iver even. I could relate to those type of vocals because I have a really baritone, and so it was just me exploring different songs. And like I lived in Oklahoma for a little while, and that was a very country music folky kind of place. I used to go to country bars and stuff like that. And so it was just but I felt the same feelings of different listening to different music than I did with the original music that I liked. And so for me, it wasn't really, I didn't think about crossing a genre or genre bending. I love a lot of things, and why can I not put this all in one thing? Because I love them all. So it just kind of happened naturally because I'm like mentally I'm just an adventurous person. I love different things. I'm like And so when I make a music, I just don't limit myself because I had a problem with that when I was around 20 years old. I only made hip hop beats, and I was just really bored. And I was just like, man, I need to like. And so I started experimenting with four on the floor and like different. Just started experimenting with just like, not being so structured in the way I make songs. Just making a 10-minute song, just having it on loop and playing around, and then going back and listening to that 10-minute loop, and then finding a section and making a song out of it. I just got more experimental, the same way I am with just life and looking at whether it's a movie or something, or I just did that with myself in the production process.
We just lost you for 1 second. We're back. No, that's definitely true though. And like, I so much of the kind of what you do musically for me, like, kind of has so many ties, like energy wise, to house music's roots. And like in Chicago, there's so much about your music that kind of heralds back to like where this music has started from, and it really feels like you know you while what you're doing feels very like fresh and new, there's a lot of it that kind of reminds me of like where houses started from, and it's kind of, I think that like I think electronic music in the last like 20 years it's like a genre that's been like whitewashed, and that it's like sort of been disconnected from those kind of roots in Chicago. And I think like your music has such an energy that kind of brings back kind of, for me, what house music kind of started as. And
That's what's up.
no, it's no, it's amazing. So I wanted to ask you, do you have a memory of like at first, going out like a rave or a party, or was there like a first was there a light bulb moment for you where you kind of walked into like an environment where there was like house music playing or something, and you were just like, this is it, or like had that light bulb moment?
Man, it happened when I was in Rhonda. That night I played with Robin, and then afterwards I DJ'd, and
Yeah.
I think I took some shrooms. I was fucked up, but you came on stage with me, and then I
Yeah.
like I mixed Pevin Everett with Daft Punk, Revolution
Mhm.
909, and
Yeah.
I just looked up for a second, and I just seen like people's jaw dropping, people's faces, and I just seen the whole like I felt like I think we were the last room going too, and it was just like, and then that was the first one of the first time I met Gaston, and he came to me, he was like, bro, like thank you, like, and like I think, and I was just like, and I didn't really understand, and then I just was like, it was such a diverse crowd, and like I was just like, man, whoa, I just had a moment like damn, this is what I'm supposed to do, like
Yep.
this is what channel trust means. This is what my first song was Controller. This is what this means. This is what
Hmm.
like it's about. And then like I don't know. I'm happy my music makes you feel that way because I wasn't really thinking that much. I was just being an open vessel to wherever,
Yeah.
just kind of
That's
wherever,
amazing.
like whatever the music wanted to take me. Like when I make stuff, and that's why it's hard for me to move in a rigid way sometimes with music because I let it as much as I put work in, I let it speak to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's awesome to kind of hear like that's you know your experience in terms of like that being a click moment for you DJing, because I think that that's so much of like what I mean, I tell you I miss it all the time right now, but like that's what I miss about this period right now is like, I think people outside of like electronic music and house music, it's easy to look at it as like a hedonistic thing or something that people do to like pass the time on the weekends. But it's like, for me, like the draw of like those parties and DJing is like that kind of that connectivity and that kind of that moment in a room where it's the thing that it's the common thread amongst a load of people who are like from different backgrounds or have different stories. It's just like, and I miss that right now. I miss that kind of connectivity. When you're DJing, like you've become like more and more so of a DJ over the years that I've known you, and like I've watched you kind of progress as a DJ. How do you find it differs to playing live, and like, and You know, what kind of atmosphere are you trying to create when you DJ, and how does that kind of differ to when you're performing live?
DJing, well, live is just like that's another form of an extension of my music, and that's just an extension of myself as an artist when I perform. When I DJ, that's more of a I'm just playing. That's more of my vibe. Like if you come to a Channel Trust DJ set, don't fucking ask me to play no fucking song. Don't request nothing. Like I'm gonna
Seriously,
play you
yeah.
I'm playing you what I want to play and the things that I like to listen to, and what inspires me. And it's more you're learning about me, about my mind, about what I like.
100%.
And that's how I listen to other DJs. I love watching other DJs. I'm like, man, why how did he transition from that to that? Why did he do that? Why did he like, and I pick up things when I learn, like that one little trick where you turn the delay up and you make it spin, and like it just makes that sound. I learned that from you. You know what I'm saying? Like I like picking up little things, and just I love the technique of it. It's really not just somebody playing records. You really get to know who that person is.
Yeah, and you're sharing your taste. It's like, I think that sometimes people struggle to like differentiate, between like a live show. You get fans come down sometimes, and and you can't. I can't blame them, but they might want to hear a certain song. But DJing for me is like, is exactly that. You're like showing a taste, and you're playing the record that you want to play those people in the room at the time, and it's like it's such a two-way thing, it's like you're showing them your taste, and like it's like having a conversation with like a crowd,
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you ever think when you're making music, do you ever have like the club in mind? Like, even though some of your songs kind of lend themselves to DJ sets and stuff, is that ever a thought in your mind when you're in the studio?
Yeah, it is. I don't just make club music, so I went through a difficult time when I had been going through, before COVID hit. I had been going through a difficult time because I felt I felt pressured into making club music all the time in the studio, and I was just kind of like, I just kind of have to learn to divide my time up. Like, I know I can make a banger. I know when I want to make a banger. And I don't know. I've been trying to, like, on this new project I'm working on, I'm trying to like show my other sides, different things, and and just like, I've just been learning. I don't have to bend myself to what I think people want to hear. Like, I just stay true to myself, and just and like, I can make a club banger when I feel like it. I know I have that, and I can make a R&B record when I want to. So it's like, I think club sometimes. I think club when I want to think club, and I think about other things when I want to think about. But I think that goes back into mastering your craft and knowing you can switch up the BPM anytime you want to.
I also think, like, the more music you put out, you're proving with each release that like you are like a really versatile artist, and like you put out songs like Weed Man, and that's like less like club focused, but it's like, I think that the more that you release, people are just gonna continue to kind of
Yeah, I'm all about the grow with me. If you like
definitely,
it, you like it. If you're gonna be around, you're gonna be around. But I try to put 100% into everything, so that when you put it out, I'm always getting that. I'm always like, I could have did that better. Fuck, I could have did that better. But
yeah.
that's always gonna be there. That's just a sign that you really love what you do. And I just try to grow from everything that I put out.
Definitely. You were talking about how when you perform live, like it's like an extension of yourself. And I wrote something down before this, and I loved that you said that, because I wrote down that when I'm seeing you perform live, your dancing to me is like, it's almost like an extension of yourself and your music. Like I love the way that you choreograph and dance on stage, and it has like it has a very specific style, the way that you dance with your dance on stage. And for me, it feels less like a choreographed routine and more like an extension of the music. Is dance a huge part of, you know, your creative outlet, and how did you kind of get to a stage where you became such a good dancer?
I mean, I've been dancing my whole life. I'm not. I can dance, but I mean, I would be disrespectful to the dancers that've been training their whole lives, like that are
You
really
can
just
dance, yeah,
amazing.
but when
But
you
I
dance,
can,
yeah, like
it's something that I don't know. I mean, I just kind of like let it. I don't really think dance. I just think about movement, and then like, you know, I do train, you know, but I didn't want the dancing on the stage to look too choreographed, so I allow everybody to kind of put their own flair into it, so it looks like a show. And I love all angles being like. I love the lights going. I love that it's dancers on each side. Like you don't have to just look at me the whole time. It's so much to look at, you know.
yeah, man, it really heightens the music for me. Like it's just, you know, watching you perform a couple of times I have, it's just like, I think that the crowd is like so drawn in. But exactly like you say, there's like so many things to look at, but it becomes like such a representation of the music in like a different way
Yeah,
live. And I think
and it
it's
was a
something that,
way, and it was also a way for me to get in touch with my feminine side a little bit more and not be afraid to move my hips and like bend my body certain ways, and you know, and like and just and really I also just you know just like some of the best like football players, like they took ballerina classes, you know, so their footwork could be on point, you know. And I think about things like that, and dancing for me is also it's a way for me to keep my cardio good and to like be healthy, and like and just like, you know, I have to rehearse and stuff and move around. Just a really good way to like clear your mind too, and like and just it's really, and that's one of the things I've been trying to like ooze out. Like you don't have to be the best dancer in the world. You can just do it, you know.
yeah, it's interesting what you just said about how, like, you know, music, it puts you in touch with like your femininity as well. And I kind of wanted to segue on that with you know, you're one of the best dressed people I know, and like you often with like the outfits you choose on stage and stuff, you kind of challenge gender norms in, like, you know, I've seen you rock like a crop top on stage and like and make it look sick. And, you know, is that again something that you kind of think about with your fashion and you're expressing yourself and the things you wear on stage? Because, you know, I the reason like I admire your taste in fashion is because, you know, it's fearless, you know, you're just like, well, I'm gonna wear this and I'm gonna rock it.
Yeah, I mean the crop top. It was hot. It's hot on stage, so the crop top like
Yeah.
it just lets you breathe. And then also like back in the '90s, like 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 you know dudes like Mike Tyson and all the dudes like the buff dudes, they wear crop tops and they wear like really short shorts, just so you can see their bulge or you can see that they've been working out and shit. Like it was never really like it was always a really guy thing to do. It's just like I don't know, over time people just I don't know get mad conservative, and I dress the same way that I dressed in high school. I've always been like a skateboarder, thrift store, you know, wear anything type of guy, and I just kind of like it just fits, and I like with clothes, it's more about how I feel that day, like you know, like and you know, and I'm thankful that I get to challenge norms, you know, and naturally that happens that I do that. So I just kind of just be myself, because you can only be the best version of you, and that's all that it really is. If I feel like I look good, I used to get made fun of, you know, of the clothes I wore and stuff, and now it's like the thing that I'm like that makes me different. So
Yeah, and the thing that like people try to replicate. Yeah.
and sometimes it's not the right time. Since those early days when I was getting made fun of, maybe it was just before its time. But now it's like I'm a grown man, and I'm like, you know, having a great career, and like I can still be myself. And now it's like it's just a blessing. That's why I just encourage everybody to always just be you all the time.
If there's anything to take away from today, that little snippet there, that's a great bit of wisdom there. So a lot of people will know you as, you know, Channel Trez, the vocalist on your tunes, but some people might perhaps not know, you know, the amount of production you do both for yourself and for other people. You know, you're a very accomplished producer and writer for other people and yourself. And, you know, in the last 18 months, you've released some really sick remixes. And one of my favorites is the Tyler, the Creator Earfquake remix. We've kind of spoken in the past about, you know, Tyler being like an influence and like someone that's influenced you in the past. And I just wanted to ask how it was kind of remixing, you know, Earfquake, and how that felt to kind of like remix an artist like Tyler, and how do you even like start to go about remixing a song like that?
The Tyler thing came. It kind of started back in 2011. I like was working at a studio, and I ran up into the studio, and I was like, "Yo, can I play some beats?" And he was nice enough to say yeah. And we sat there for about an hour and a half, and he listened to my beats, and we had a really amazing talk. And then I got really cool with his engineer from there, and I stayed in contact with his engineer over the years. And this was before I was Channel Trace, and before I kind of, this one I was just producing and just like couch surfing. And I just kind of, we kept the relationship with his engineer, and then you know, I kind of started getting big, and then Tyler FaceTimed me. I had dropped one of my songs, and he was just saying like, "Man, I've been looking for this type of music." He was like, "I was in Paris looking for this type of shit," and it's like, and he was just like, "Damn, you're making it here, and you're from LA," like, and he was just, you know, just gave me a blessing, and like, you know, and then I remember when Igor dropped. I really loved the album, like, because it was just a really great statement, just as creatives, and helping people not be boxed in. And so and then his engineer hit me and was just like, "Yo, do you want to remix it?" I was like, hell yeah. And he was like, "Tyler said it's cool." I was like, "Fuck yeah." And so I went out, and this is before I was going on tour to Australia, so I drove to the studio, picked up the stems, and then I got on a plane and went to Australia. And then I was in the hotel, and I was in the hotel. Then I watched the NPR Tiny Desk by her, and I just kind of started crying because it was so good. And I was kind of going through some relationship stuff at the time. And then I just started working on the remix from there, and it all came out. It just flowed. In the hotel room. It just flowed. And then,
Man, I mean, I've told you before, but I love that remix so much, and it's really like transportive. It just takes me someone else. There's like, you can feel a lot of emotion in it. It really, and it puts the song in such a different context as well. It has like a real kind of, there's like a longing in there. I don't know. I just love it so much, man.
nah, yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I was tearing up when I made it. It was definitely one of my emotions in there, like heavy. But it made me understand the meaning of the original. You know, you make my earthquake. Like, you in love with somebody that much, they make your, like, you know, and the Charlie Wilson vocals, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, as someone who does remixes, I can appreciate, like, the thing I love about that remix is, you're right, you've taken like the context of the lyric and kind of and repositioned it in like a different context emotionally, where the meaning of the song is still intact, but it's almost like the remix revealed the meaning of the song for me, right? It was like, through hearing your remix, it made me listen to the song in a different way and hear the lyrics really for the first time and be like, oh shit, this is what it means. So no, I love that remix a lot. But yeah, so that, I just wanted to kind of this kind of covered a lot of things I wanted to ask you, but I kind of wanted to, there was sort of a closing question, which was that I think we both obviously spent a few nights at Ronda together as a party. We both love in LA. It's like really, it's just everything like a party should be to me. And, you know, just we've had some sick times there. So my question for you was, if, you know, when this is all over and you're back at Ronda for the first time DJing and it's the end of the night and the lights come up, what's the record you're going to play?
I might play, I don't know, man. That's a hard question. I might play top. I might play top down, bro. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
I might be feeling myself too much and play my shit.
Nah, man, honestly, someone asked me. I did like a Instagram like Q&A thing, and someone was like, "Oh, what's your favorite song right now?" And I was like, "I'm not even gonna lie, it's Impact."
It's tight. It's tight. You can't really lie.
All right. Also, congrats on the Disclosure album coming out, and Lavender is so sick as well. I love that record.
Such a great song, man. Those guys are
Such
so
a banger.
Miss those guys so much.
Me too, man. Like, definitely. I wish we were all just back in a Ronda type situation together with USB sticks in our hand and a crowd dancing.
Exactly. We will. We will. We will.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. And it's awesome to kind of pick your brain a bit about
no problem.
Just your,
no problem, man.
Your experiences in electronic music and stuff. But big love, bro, and I'll speak to you really soon anyway.
I got love for you, bro.
Of course, bro. Love you loads. I'll speak to you soon.
Talk soon.
Peace, bro.